Hi.
Here, can you throw this out, Ted?
Why are you on your phone?
Because I have a Zoom meeting. Because I don't know how to dial in on my laptop. You have to put like a phone number in.
What are you using? You're not using Zoom or anything?
Yeah, I am using Zoom.
You just use the web.
What?
You just use the web.
Can you go get my laptop upstairs and show me how to do it? You know what? No, I changed my mind. Do your chores. You can show me later. Hey, do you know where my pens are? This needs to come out.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi, is it just us?
So far.
Okay.
Might as well just start the video here. Understanding these 24 topics is the key to success, and really understanding, you know, the MREA, you know, and being able to go back to it really from memory, you know, instead of walking around asking people, hey, how do you do this one thing? How do you do that? You know, if you're really familiar and intimate with the book, you're able to solve a lot of your problems. It reminds me a little bit of like church and the Bible and the structure at church, you know, right? So if you have a problem, a lot of times, you know, you go ask the pastor, hey, what, my wife and I are struggling with this one thing. And it's like, well, go read Matthew 24, you know, whatever this verse is, and the answer is solved right there for you, and you didn't even really need to go see your pastor. So just kind of an example of how I look at this book, really the same way. I mean, it's everything is laid out for us. So I'm glad that you joined. We'll probably have a few more joining.
Okay.
Is there people there? I don't know if that's on my end or.
I don't see. No, I don't see anybody.
I just meant at your place. Is there like people talking in the background?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll mute myself. It's my kids. They're home for
That's fine. I mean, it's just you know, I just wasn't sure if there was someone else on the video or something I wasn't seeing.
Let me figure out how to mute myself.
All right, then I'll just unmute yourself when you have something to say. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm not sure why it's. Here we go. Move out of the way. All right. Why is it not presenting? Sorry, Tracy. Oh, gosh. Why is it not? Oh, well, I don't know why I can't get it on the presentation mode, but there we go. All right. So we talked about, you know, kind of remembering these things, committing them to memory. So the MREA, the book itself, what's really awesome about it is if you ever listen to the audio version of it, that's on YouTube, the very beginning, before the book starts, Jay Papasan and Gary Keller talk about, you know, what this book is really about, what it really means to them. You know, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, when I first had that presented to me shortly after the book was written, I was like, oh, great, here we go with another one of these, be a millionaire, and the Millionaire Next Door that was, you know, written a few years earlier. But really, it's about thinking big, aiming high, acting bold, you know, living large, living the best life that you can, reaching levels you never thought you'd reach before. So that's really what this book is about. The first topic that we're going to start with out of the 24 is the models. Actually, I'm sorry. That's not the first topic, but it's just the MREA is about models, right? So the big models lead to big success. And the important thing is that's really discussed here is models and creativity, right? What we struggle with is not following a model. We think of solutions on our own on the fly. We try this, maybe this doesn't work. So then we run and we try that, and then that doesn't work. So following the model, you know, I think of, I don't know how much football you watch, you know, maybe it's a bad analogy here, but like, you know, in the early 80s, the San Francisco 49ers had a coach, Bill Walsh, who created this offense called the West Coast offense and dominated. I mean, they won 5 Super Bowls. They had a great quarterback, obviously, but it was this system that he followed that allowed him to win. And then when he left, the coach came in right after him using the same system, and he won at least one Super Bowl. And then there's been this huge coaching tree that has come from Bill Walsh throughout the NFL. Andy Reid was one of them. Probably boring you to tears here, but it's just an example of success following a model. And another thing that you'll see, we got some people joining us. Part of the problem with moving away from the model, and go back to that example, is that you start flailing. You're flailing around, So if you're breaking away from the model, let's see if this one thing works. Let's try to add this person. They're probably not qualified, but I desperately need them. Let's add them. You're going to be all over the place. And that's what's kind of going on in this graphic here, where if you're starting with creativity first, it's going to be unstable. So you start with the models, and that's what we're talking about today. Models will break through ceilings. I had a little bit of difficulty understanding this. I mean, it's so basic, but they're talking about fundamental models, which to me, it's like, well, fundamentals don't break through ceilings. Fundamentals get you to the ceiling. And really, that's kind of what it's saying, is everyone's going to hit a ceiling at some point. And that's where creativity comes in. But that's also where understanding what to do next from the book is what's going to push you through that ceiling and, get you to the next level. So this is actually the first topic of the MREA, of the 24. It's the foundational model is leads, listing, and leverage. You've heard it talked a lot about at Keller Williams. And it's really what your entire business should be based on. And we'll break it down a little bit. I'm actually going to read from the book. And before we do that, we have Felicia and Michelle just joined us. So I'm going to let you guys know. We're going through these 24 topics. We're probably going to get to 3 or 4 of them today. We're going to keep doing this every 2 weeks starting in November. There is a worksheet that goes along with this that we'll be filling out. Today, it's not really required. I'm just kind of setting the groundwork for what's going to go on, and we're going to leave it off with your big why. So that being said, I want to start with the 3 L's of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Just take a second to read this. When we first started grouping our findings by category, it appeared that we might have 8 core issues. On closer examination, we were able to eliminate 3 and narrow the list to 5. Ultimately, we discovered that the finish line lay at 3 core issues that support our model: leads, listings, and leverage. We call them the 3 L's of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So with leads, everyone has 2 jobs. This is an interesting story. So you can have a doctorate in real estate, outfox a professional litigator in a contract negotiation, appraise property better than anyone in your market, and have more financing knowledge packed into your head than a mortgage guru. And it won't be a lick of good without any clients. So to succeed in real estate, you have to have clients. You have to have leads. It's that simple. Until you have enough leads to meet or exceed your goals, there's no other issue. So no matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, everyone has 2 jobs, their chosen profession, and lead generation. I think this comes as a huge surprise to people when they get in the real estate business. I meet people and they tell me, I love real estate, I love architecture, I think I'm really good with people, and that's why I'm gonna make a great real estate agent. And some of that's true. A lot of that is passion, but it's lead generation. We're all in lead generation, and doctors are too. Lawyers, if you're starting a business, you got to be able to get the leads. So that's why it's the first pillar of this model. Listings. Okay, listings, it calls the gift of the real estate gods. I'm going to read a paragraph or 2 about that. So listings are the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity in our industry. Conventionally, your income from having a listing sell is no different than closing on a similarly priced home for a buyer. What separates the two is the amount of time necessary to work them. In our experience, a highly productive individual can personally obtain 15 to 25 seller listings per month. Believe me, there used to be a time where people listed 15 to 25 homes per month. Don't see that in today's market, but it happens. The same agent would be hard pressed to work with that many buyers. I mean, maybe 7 or 8 buyers per month is about the most that you can work with for any prolonged period of time before you're going to become burned out. So from the very start, by concentrating on listings first and foremost, you could potentially double or triple your gross income on the same amount of work. So if this isn't incentive enough, then consider how listings provide a lead generation platform through direct mail, through ads, through signage, and open house, which is completely true. I believe for every listing that you take, you should pick up a buyer and close a buyer transaction from it. And that's where the marketing angle comes in from. And we'll talk a little bit more about the marketing angle when we get to the leverage piece of this. I've been kind of talking for about 10, 15 minutes straight. So if any of you guys want to jump in and say something real quick, feel free. Any questions or anything you want to say?
I'll just say hi.
Is that Michelle? Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us.
Yay. It's been a while since I went over the MREA, so I'm overdue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crucial. And you'll find really, I mean, the more that you do read it and that you understand the topics, the more it just flows and you get it. And that's why we're doing this. And I'm going to make a commitment to doing it more with you guys. So leverage. The leverage is obviously the who and the how. I'm sorry, let me just make sure I'm following my little outline here. So this is a little bit longer, and I don't want to read this whole thing. But it talks about, people say time is money, and that's true. And everyone's going to have a limitation as to how far they can stretch themselves before they're just out of time. And what I see most people do is kind of put a limit on how much they can accomplish and try to push through it by just working more hours. So leverage is about, who's going to do the job, how they're going to do it, and what will they use with it. And now I'm seeing more what Gary Keller is saying with that last piece about what will they do it with, not with it, do it with, is technology now. Now he's replacing that with, what kind of technology are they going to use to do their jobs? So going back, the 3 key foundations here: leads, got to have leads, got to have listings if you want to have control of your business and grow a huge business, and you got to leverage your time with a person, okay? And you got to give them how to do it and a system to do it with. And these are all things that you're going to have to create for them. So four stages of growth. So Gary talks about this, and this resonates with me as well. You have to start at the bottom. And again, these seem like really basic, obvious things, stages, but to achieve $1 million in gross commission, it has to start with thinking it and understanding that it's even possible. I remember when I started in real estate, I was in it. I got into the business. I just thought I'd be good at it. I was good with connecting people and talking, same reason a lot of people get in. And I just did it. And I thought, hey, that'd be great. Because I was 22. That'd be great making, $40,000, $50,000 a year. while all my friends were just getting out of college, I'd be making more to them. And I was kind of okay with that. And then I started learning about Mike Ferry and other coaches, and I started going to their seminars. There wasn't a whole lot on the internet in 2001, 2002 with this stuff. So I would go to their seminars, and that was the first time I learned that you could make a ton of money in real estate, believe it or not. I just didn't ever think that way. And that changed everything about how I saw real estate. I find like models and systems just started clicking in my head. The company I was at, it was a traditional company where I'm getting listings, I'm putting their sign in the front yard, phone calls are coming to their floor agents who are then selling my listings. And it started kind of annoying me, you know, because I was seeing models and systems. But anyway, I don't want to go too far off track on that. But because I was able to actually think and realize that there was a lot of money that could be made, I started changing things, which led to the next step was I was earning money. And where I came in at age 22, wanting to make $40,000, $50,000 a year, it instantly changed to I want a six-figure income within 2 years. And by the time I was 24, 25, I was earning a six-figure income at real estate, and I owned my own house, and it was amazing, you know. So that earning comes along with thinking, and then the next is netting, you know, netting the money and receiving. That's just that's the end goal. That's the end process of, you know, creating something so big where it's, you know, the money's just kind of coming to you, you know, and you're just almost effortlessly. And that's what we all, you know, we see some agents in the office, we see some agents in the industry where it just looks effortless, you know, to them. So they've reached that stage, and that's what we should all really aspire to. So next topic is the 6 common myth understandings. And I got to tell you, when I go through these, I've lived every single one of these, and I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have too. I think they have fully nailed. I think they fully nailed this. You know, the one that's up on the screen here is number 6. I mean, I'll start with it since it's right in front of our face. Having a goal and not fully realizing it is a negative thing. And obviously that's a myth. The truth is having a goal and not trying to achieve it is the negative thing. We should all shoot big. We should all be the best we can be. And if we can't get to it, then, you know, we can't get to it. But you're shooting on it. Like, what's that saying? Shoot for the stars, and if you hit the moon, oh well, you know, something like that. Maybe someone can correct me on that one. I'm probably way off on it. But you guys get the idea. So myth number 1 is I can't do it. All right. The truth of that is until you try, you can't possibly know what you can and can't do. You know, so there's no sense in limiting yourself. There's an example in the book about Mount Everest, right? I mean, it was, I believe, 100 years between the time they determined that Mount Everest was the tallest place on Earth and the first person climbed it. 100 years. And then I believe it was like a year later, someone else climbed it. And then at this point, there's been thousands and thousands of people that have climbed Mount Everest, and it's nothing, you know? So it's just a belief, you know, until you try doing it, you can't possibly know if you can do it or not. The second myth is it can't be done in my market. Truth is that, yes, it can, but you might need a new approach. You guys ever find yourself saying that? I'll be honest with you. I mean, have you ever used that one? I've seen others use it, you know, and sometimes I want to use it too with recruiting to this office. I mean, it's difficult recruiting agents, you know, and I catch myself sometimes thinking, man, it's just hard. These agents, they've been here so long. Agents don't want to move. I don't see agents going from this company to that company, let alone that company to Keller Williams. And I have to stop myself because it's just not true. I mean, they'll come, you know, and it's not just this market. And how I see it with agents a lot is with farming. I see agents want to farm a specific area, but decide, well, you know what, I see so-and-so from Remax, or I see their letters and whatnot. And, you know, that shouldn't stop. I see you nodding your head, Tracy. Go, unmute yourself.
Okay, got it.
So why were you nodding your head there? Tell me what you're thinking.
Because you and I were just having that conversation about that, you know, in my neighborhood, I farm and I do see other signs going up. And when I talk to the people, it's because they knew their friend is an agent, or their aunt is an agent, or family member is an agent, or so forth and so on. So, but you're right, it's that negative thinking that instead of saying, well, I might have something better to offer.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the mind share part of this book, but yeah, I mean, what you need to do is look at the facts. You know, we need to pull up a neighborhood and see, is there an agent dominating in there? Are they getting 10, 15% of the listings? You know, and if they are, it could be safe to say they're doing things right. But, you know, agents give up, you know, after a while. They rest on their laurels, right? They're doing well, they're selling in there. So now they're not mailing as often. They think they have, and that's when you can kind of come in and steal it out from under them. If you don't want to take that path, then you just find another one. But that's where I see it the most. And Tracy, honestly, I've heard that from a lot of agents. You know, I know, you know, I wasn't picking on you, but it is, you know, you hear it. And the book, the MREA, talks about mind share, you know, and it talks about people remember the first one or two names. And then after that, it's just a blur. You know Apple, you know Samsung. You try thinking of a third smartphone, and it's going to take you a few seconds. You know Coke, Pepsi. It wouldn't take you as long to think of a third soda, but you know, you kind of get the idea. You know, beers. There's multiple beers now, but it's the same with real estate. It just becomes so much noise for them. So, Tracy, you're great with people and you're very personable. And if you add to your farming events, getting out and meeting people, which I think you already do. I think you say you walk your dog all the time. Is that you?
No, I have a Facebook page for my neighborhood that I hold events
Yep.
with.
You know, and that type, yeah, and that type of interaction with people will get the business because it's constant. It's top of mind versus just getting a card from whoever from Remax once a month or once every 90 days or something like that. So it's really a whole
Package.
yeah, a whole thing that's got to all go together. So you guys get the point, but just remember that mind share when you're kind of getting down on it won't work or this or that. You know, the mind share is the big part of it. Is how can I get in front of these people and stay in front of them? The third myth, and these aren't on my slides, but the third myth is it would take too much time and effort, and I would lose my freedom. Truth is, time and effort are not the deciding factors in success. And you have to really start thinking about time and effort differently. And it comes back again to the pillar of leverage, thinking differently to add leverage into your business. You hit a wall. What can we add? You know, what can we add, or who can we add, or what tool or system can we add to get us through this problem? You know, again, I said most people end up thinking, I'll just work hard. I'll work more hours. I'll work 60 hours now. And unfortunately, that's what I see a lot of people doing because they're not really sure how to take the next step or how to leverage the next piece. You know, and talking about leverage, I mean, that's really what we're trying to do at the office here now is we're following the model ourselves. And we're on the leverage piece now. And that's why Michelle and I have been working extremely hard to add this marketing component because we want to take that piece off of everyone's plate. Why have to make you guys be marketing specialists when you can have someone at the office kind of do it for you and get you guys some leads? Same thing with the transaction coordinator. You know, we're trying to replace Judy. Same thing. Take that piece off your plate. You guys are salespeople. You should be out meeting with people in front of them, not worrying about marketing, not worrying about paperwork. So that's how we're trying to take our office to the next level and get more production. And so just want to throw that example out of how that works. It's too risky, I'll lose money. That's the myth. The truth is, risk is in direct proportion to how well you hold your incremental costs accountable to producing incremental results. Are you guys familiar with the term red light, green light in this book? Okay. So red light, green light is a method that Gary talks about where, you know, it's holding your money accountable that you're spending. You know, it talks with lead with revenue, not expenses. So you want to add this new marketing piece, or like Tracy, you've talked about maybe bringing on a marketing person or an assistant or whatever it is, whatever you're going to commit money to, you have to hold it accountable. Is this money making me more money? If I'm doing these mailers, I'm committing 6 months to doing these mailers, and it's going to cost me $130 every time I send it out. So that's almost $800 I'm spending. I need to make 2 to 1 on my money, let's say. You know, 3 to 1 would be even better, but let's just say 2 to 1. So that better net me at least a deal. You know, otherwise it wasn't really worth my time. Now, sample size is going to be important there. You can't just say, I'm going to send out 1,000 mailers one time and see what happens. That's not a great marketing strategy. But again, so if that is making you money, green light. Now we'll spend more money there. We'll double the marketing budget and see if we're going to double the results, double the profit on that. If we're not, we're going to green light, we're going to red light that change and go back to maybe just spending $800 on the mailing and making what we're making. All right. If we're bringing on an assistant or a person, you have to be able to quantify that. You know, if you're going to pay someone $40,000 a year, they better make you $120,000. Now, it's pretty extreme from day one, but that should be your goal in your head is if I'm hiring this person, they got to make me more money. You know, I'm not just adding this expense to my bottom line here. It's supposed to make you more money. So that's the idea with red light, green light there. And it ties in with leading with revenue, not expenses. And what that means is don't just start adding expenses. Don't just go add a website. That's going to cost you $2,000 or whatever. You know, you start small, making phone calls to for sale by owners or expires or doing open house. There's no money involved in that. Very, very, very little. Start making revenue doing those things and then start adding the other things and playing red light, green light as you go. So when you're looking at it as it's too risky, I'll lose money. Not if you're holding it accountable properly and you have a full plan of what you want to do going in. Myth number 5 is my clients will only work with me. Only I can deliver quality service. Hold on a second. So this is a big one that agents who have control issues really struggle with. You know, they feel like only I can, oh, Michelle's laughing now. Only I can do this right. You know, I definitely not picking on Dot. I love her. You know, when I talk to her, she knows the way she does things and she feels comfortable with doing things. And in her mind, it's like, you know, by the time I give my assistant the address, the price, the terms, the this, the that, I could have just filled the damn thing out myself. And I get it, you know, but at the end of the day, if you want to grow a large business that keeps growing, you have to free yourself up and allow others to do that job. So what it comes down to is standards. You know, the truth of the other half of that myth is your clients aren't loyal to you. They're loyal to the standards that you represent. So what we need to do now is break everything down that you're good at. You know, you have a way that you write your offers. You have a way that you deal with contract negotiations. You have a way that you deal with follow-up. If you create a standard for that and write it all down on how you want it performed, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to hire a high quality, talented assistant to do your job the way you want it done. And that's how you let go of that part of only I can do. My clients only know me. They're not going to know Sarah, you know? So it's a leap of faith, you know, but it's something that you got to be able to commit to. So the last myth we started with is the having the goal, not fully realizing, you know, it. That's one on the screen. And we've already talked about that. So this is try the real you. Most people will never know who they really are or what they really can achieve because they fear to try. You know, they're afraid of failure. It's a big one, and we all are. And it's the reality is you have to be able to. And I love when I came to Keller Williams, the very first thing I went to wasn't a business planning clinic. It was something like that, though. And it was Seth Campbell, who's actually no longer with Keller Williams, but he was talking about the idea of failing forward. And I loved it because we've all failed before and it hurts, you know, and it kicks our ass. But if you treat it as just a step on the way to success, it's so much easier to deal with and grow from and become better, instead of just giving up, quitting, and running away and saying, this isn't me, I can't do this, you know? So the real you can only show up when you try, you know? So it's an encouragement to just keep sticking at it. If you have a limitation, that's when we find some leverage for you. Sorry, one second here. And this is kind of where we're going to wrap it up, because I want to end with having you guys, giving you guys this as your homework for the next one, the big why. I really want you guys to spend some time thinking about your big why, if maybe you already have it, you know, and just kind of filling this out. I'm going to send an email to all 4 of you with the workbook that goes along with this that you can fill in. And when we all reconvene next week, or I'm sorry, in November, when it's back on the schedule, I want you guys to have your big why filled in so that we can move forward. So, you know, the think is think powered by a big why. So have that ready. Think big goals, big models, think possibilities, think action, think without fear, think progress, think competitively and strategically, think standards, think service. And you will be a millionaire real estate agent tomorrow. I'm just kidding. Take some time. So before we wrap up, any thoughts, any ahas, anything you guys want to share? Any questions, stories?
I got a question about the transaction coordinator. They just handle the paperwork?
Yes.
Is it a per transaction fee? How does that operate?
Hold on once I'm trying to, there we go. Yes. So, and I need to talk to Tracy and I need to talk to Kelly Burke and, you know, a few others, because I want to find out, you know, Judy did a great job contract to close, but I also feel like she might have customized it for you guys. Like Tracy, maybe you needed her to do something and maybe Kelly needed her to, she told me like Kelly would say, hey, I need you to write this offer up for me real quick. And then Judy would write the offer up for her. So I want to have a, you know, core package of service for her, which is your typical contract to close. So yeah, they do the paperwork, right? So you close on a transaction, you get an agreement signed, and she handles the rest, right? And you're ready. And the next time you're dealing with it is when you go to closing. I mean, obviously you're negotiating the home inspection. Tracy could even probably explain it since she was using Judy. But that's the idea, is that all that is taken off of your plate, Michelle, so that you're going and focusing on the next transaction. You're not going and getting the UNO. And did Judy do that, Tracy, the UNO?
No, I mean, honestly, the biggest thing for me was she dealt with title. Like, for example, the past 2 days,